Hey everybody, Greg Cazillo for FroKnowsPhoto.com, and it looks like somebody was on the beach or on an island. Man, does that look really, really good. Just to be able to sit and relax, take cool photos. Awesome picture. Let's start out with our camera calibration. I want to try out with a vivid and add a little extra color. Blues are looking good. Love this camera calibration panel lately. Loving it, playing with it a lot. Next thing, it's overly bright. We can tell that by looking at our histogram. So dragging our exposure to the left leaves a little bit to be desired, making certain things too dark, and it's dragging our entire histogram and all of our data to the side. So that's not what we want. So let's get down here to our tone curve and start bringing our darks and our shadows over. Now our shadows probably don't want to go too far because I don't want to lose too much detail there in that rock and in some of these other shadows that are down here, which there aren't very many. But yeah, we're good. But there, I think, but dragging the shadows over is much better. As you see, darkening our sky, darkening everything. Now let's try our lights. See what that's going to do for us. Maybe just a touch. Okay, highlights. Let's see what it's doing. Maybe just a tiny, tiny bit to bring everything over. Looking good. That's about where I like to see it. Now let's try some clarity. Clarity is just going to make a little bit of difference down in here. Pump that up. Okay. Now we're getting much closer to what I would like to see in a finished print. What else would I do? I guess if I really wanted to, maybe get rid of this guy since he's kind of bothering me. So let's make our brush a little bigger, and bam, he's gone. Almost. Still almost. Oh, oh, oh. Not having a very good day here. Let's see. There, he's gone. Brush was too big, but that's okay. In the interest of time, I think we'll stick with it. Other than that, cool image. Love the saturation. Wish I could be there. Let's see what Jared has to say. See ya.
So you just saw how Greg edited this file. I don't know how he edited it yet, but I'm sure he said some weird things about me. He's trying to start a fight or something that we'll have to finish another time. So we have this photo that Mark Campbell sent in, as you now can send in your raw files and have Greg and I edit it and see what we come up with. So I picked this because it was a landscape and something a little different than normal, but there's many things you can do to this photo, so let's see what I come up with. You know I hit the contrast quite often, so first thing I do is I pump the contrast way up, especially for a photo like this where there aren't any people in it. You don't have to worry about skin tones and things like that. But you can see the difference here. When we go from zero contrast, it's flat and gray, and that's just what happens when you shoot raw. You have to do your tweaks. This, I pump the contrast way up, and just a simple switch of the contrast, pumping that all the way up, really makes this photo pop. So now I want to change my exposure a little bit, drop it. This is what happens if you raise it, it's too blown out, but if you drop it, now it looks like you're sitting on the beach, and it's just thick. And I like thick like a pickle photos. That's my Digital Underground reference for the week. And then my black levels, I can take this up. I think that's way too high at 24, but it looks pretty solid. I'm just going to bring it back to, cut it in half to about 12, and that's pretty solid of an image. I bet you Greg probably added some gradation to the sky, which is just, I don't get uber technical when it comes to editing. I make it as quick and easy as possible, letting the photo do as much of the talking as humanly possible. But, you know, Greg goes into a little more depth with these type of images. Let's see, clarity. If you overdo the clarity, look at the clouds. This is something you don't want to do, where you get this haloing effect from overdoing it, and you don't want to pull back too far because you get this fully glowing effect, which isn't bad for certain things, but that's not what I'm going for. So just a little bit of clarity in here, pumps it up really tight. Fill light, I'm not touching it because I don't like touching the fill light usually. White balance is pretty damn good straight out of the camera, but let's see what happens if we make it more blue by going to the left, more yellow going to the right. Let's see, where did we go from? So it's I'm going to put a little yellow into it, make it look a little warmer. and that looks really cool. That's really it for me. There's not much. Some other things you could do. You could desaturate, which I'm not a big fan of doing. You could pump up the blues in the sky, but if you do that, again, look at the clouds. There's too much saturation, and when you print that, it's going to bleed. It's not going to print too well. So I'm trying to keep this as natural as possible. The contrast does well. The vibrance, you could always move up slightly, which actually made a big difference. Move it back. You can see how that's changing. And let's see what the saturation does. Just a little bit of saturation. Look how blue this water is. So this is really awesome. D90, where was this shot? ISO 200 with that 18-105 lens. It's a pretty cool picture. I'm pretty happy with it. I like how I edited this, and hopefully it matches with what Greg did. Or hopefully it doesn't match what Greg did, because we have two different styles. So, send your pictures in. Send them to froknowsphoto@gmail.com. G-O-M? No. At gmail.com. Send in those raw files. We'll try to get yours up here each week. We're going to have a new one. Send them only to the Gmail account, as that has a ton of room. So, until next week, Jared Polin, froknowsphoto.com. See ya!